Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Glenn Stearns. Glenn is an entrepreneur, philanthropist, and a two-time cancer survivor. At the age of 25, he founded Stearns Lending, one of the largest privately held mortgage lending companies in the United States. He was the winner of reality TV show The Real Gilligan's Island and star of Discovery's Undercover Billionaire. Glenn was not born with the proverbial silver spoon. He faced a number of challenges throughout his childhood. I wanted to know how he overcame so many obstacles as a young man.
You only know what you know, right? When you grow up, you don't know whether it's a good childhood or a bad childhood. But I did learn a lot of coping, right? A lot of ways to make sure I was able to get through a lot of things. My parents were, very wonderful people. I mean, they struggled with alcohol and drugs, and my dad was a printer, my mom cleaned homes, was a grocery checker. It was what it was, right? And then I kind of came up the ranks. I failed fourth grade. I was dyslexic. I had a child at 14 years old, so I was in eighth grade. But it all seemed kind of, it was, what it was. And it obviously made me a lot more, resilient to be able to go into business and look at those issues as kind of small compared to fighting some of the bigger stuff when you're young.
Glenn and I both started our businesses in our 20s. Like me, he didn't start off thinking he was going to build a huge empire. He just wanted to have his own business. But things took off fast, and Stearns Lending began to grow.
I know I didn't think I was going to be the biggest mortgage company. I just wanted to have my own little shop and see what I could do. And so I was not able to put into even my mind how big it would become. But when I did realize that, there were other guys that were just so much larger and dominated the market, I took a little turn and I started doing government contracting for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, for HUD. And I got into the title work. I became the largest HUD contractor in the country.
Stearns Lending survived the 2007 mortgage lending crisis. Glenn and his team emerged as the number one wholesale lender. But in 2014, Glenn made the difficult decision to sell the business he had built from the ground up.
If I had my way, I probably would have been sitting right where you are, right? The family we created, the people, the customers, and I had no exit plan either. I wasn't thinking, hey, let's build something big. And well, once I got big, I wasn't thinking, all right, it's time to sell. I ended up going through a little health scare. Again, I know you went through your share of health problems, and as your wife did as well. And, I just turned 50 and I get diagnosed with cancer, and they tell me it's a 50-50 shot. And at the same time, Blackstone and a couple other of the big private equity guys were coming to me pretty hard. And they had a thesis that the banks were going to start shedding all their servicing and the non-banks were going to become the big dominant players. The smart guys, they were right. So they were hitting on me right at the same time. My life kind of came this close to going, okay, I might not be around, and I've got some young kids. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take this as a good opportunity to just go around the world with my family and spend some time. And if this is all I have, I want to leave an imprint on them. I had 6 kids, but I had 2 young ones. So, I did that. And when I sold, you get the big heyday, right? I mean, man, it's been years. It was the worst day of my life. I never cried so hard in my life. It wasn't, wow, look at all this money. It was, I let people down. I had people, a family that loved me, and I've sold out. That's how I felt. Okay. I mean, it wasn't a yippee day at all. And then I survived cancer, and I'm like, okay, now what? Right? Like, I loved what I did. I didn't do it for the money to the beginning. I wasn't to go build and sell. And hey, those guys, to your point, good for them that they can get an idea, put it together, and get other people to believe in it and sell it. It was part of my life. The first chance I got to come back in, I started a company called Kind Lending, and that's where we are now. And I'm very happy to. And by the way, my exit plan, I've told people, I've got one. It's in a pine box, right? I'm going out with the company.
After beating cancer and traveling the world, Glenn gained a new perspective on life. Being exposed to different countries, peoples, and cultures gave him a deeper appreciation for the opportunities America provides.
So I went around the world, bought a fairly large boat, and took the family, and we went around, and I got to see what the rest of the world's like. And seriously live in a world of opportunity, where you can do anything here. I don't care if you're Republican or you're Democrat. The way this country is set up, there's a lot of opportunity and potential. And so coming back and realizing that, and then knowing, look at your story, my story. I mean, you start off with a dream, right? And sure, you're going to have setback, but, there's a lot of possibility in what we did, and, ended up building companies that, again, I never even dreamed I could get that big and employ thousands and thousands of people. And so having done that a few times, and then going through the cancer, and then having people out there say the American dream is dead and all this stuff, they haven't seen the rest of the world. That's for sure.
Years prior, Glenn had an employee that was in the finals on a reality TV show called The Real Gilligan's Island. His employee mentioned that Glenn and his wife would make great contestants to the show's producers. So Glenn and Mindy became contestants and went on to win the show. After that, TV producers began calling Glenn to pitch him on other show ideas.
And I kept saying, I'm a business guy. I did that. I was fine, but I don't think I'm not a TV guy. And I said, but I tell you what I would do. Put me anywhere in this country. Take away all the money, all the contacts, everything. I'm tired of hearing all the bull crap about when it isn't the land of opportunity, because it is. And I said, you want to put me anywhere and watch me rebuild a business? I said, I'll do that. And I'd say that just kind of shut these guys up, and then a guy comes back to me. If you're serious, Discovery said they'll do that show. I said, damn right, I'm serious. But I had no plan, right? I didn't make this whole, I made it up, and so they took me up on the opportunity, and off I went. They picked me up. I was down in Florida on my boat. I told them, all right, I can work anytime from February to June. I said, just take me. And they took me and dropped me off in Erie, Pennsylvania. No money, no contacts, they gave me a cell phone and a beat up pickup truck and $100. I had to sleep in the car. It was a nightmare. And at the same time, the most fun I ever had in my life.
Glenn's first night in Erie was tough. He was freezing cold and spent the night in an old truck. He knew he had to take care of the basics like food, water, and shelter. To start, he needed to take the $100 he had been given and make more money.
Basically, it was St. Patty's Day and a couple of days later, and I remembered my son when he was about 5. He was at a wedding, and there was all these people around him. I said, what are you doing, son? He said, I'm selling rock to drunk people. I was like, selling, they'll buy anything, Dad. So I thought, I'm going to go out and buy a bunch of St. Patty's Day swag, and I'm going to take it into the bars on St. Patty's Day and sell all the swag to all these people. And ended up making about $1,000 selling swag. Because I kept going back to the store, getting more. But when I had that, I found some tires and some other little things and got myself up to where I could buy a car. I flipped that car and made some money, and flipped another one and made some money. And anyway, getting to a point where, I had enough money to put a down payment on a small house out there. They were about $18,000. So I went and did that, and just hustling, right? Just working every little angle I could at getting enough money. There was a lot of bumps in the road. A lot of things didn't go right. But there ended up being this barbecue festival. And that's how I thought about the barbecue restaurant. I was going to do a beer operation. I figured I could take the unused portion of all these other beer manufacturers and maybe I could utilize their equipment, but I couldn't get a license in time. So then I saw all these people love barbecue in Erie and they wait in lines. And there's a 50,000 person barbecue festival. Maybe I'll do a barbecue restaurant and invite all the beer people in. So that's what we did. We worked away. We got to that festival and I doubled my money again and ended up getting enough money to start the restaurant, which is thriving today.
Glenn's resourcefulness and entrepreneurial spirit is proof that anyone with enough ambition and grit can achieve their goals. I wanted to know what lessons he took away from such a unique experience.
So many. One would be surrounding yourself with strong people, right? You got to make sure you've got good people and communicate well. One I learned that I did wrong was I was rushing. I didn't have enough time to go out when I bought that home and get an inspection. That's something right up your alley, right? I went and said, "Okay, I'll just buy it. And don't worry, I don't have enough time." Well, when I got it, it ended up having mold. And that just set me back forever. And, I luckily got out with just my money. So I didn't make any money on that. But yeah, I really learned more about probably the power of just giving people a vision, getting them to understand goals and, getting us all aligned on the same page and being with some really neat people that were doers in that city. And we got it done.
Maintaining a resilient attitude is what the next generation of entrepreneurs must possess, especially in a challenging market situation. Glenn shared his advice for young leaders building in today's environment.
I would tell them 3 different things. And one is, obviously, live your life with integrity, honesty, because it's real simple to be able to cut corners and think you're going to be able to get ahead. And the answer is, in the long run, no, you're not. Okay. You need to live your life in an honest way. Okay. And in the end, you will be much better off for it. You need to live your life authentically. Okay. We try to be other people, never be another person. It doesn't do you any good to think, look, never measure yourself with someone else's ruler, right? It's like looking over going, this doesn't fit. It doesn't fit because it's not you. All right. And lastly, I would say that we all have special gifts. And I just told my son this the other day. When you sit there and you look, okay, I wasn't so good in school. I ended up with a 2.16 grade point average, right? Some of that might not have been just because I wasn't doing the books. I might have been having too much fun. But the reality is that the retention aspect didn't hit me very well. And it didn't hit one of my sons. And I was talking to him about it. I said, that's other people's gift. They can read a book in 15 minutes. They remember everything and they can, and other people are great with math and people are analytical, the music and everything that other people have is their gift. What's your gift? Right. And what are you good at? And then take that and run with that, but don't try to think you're somebody else. You're not. A lot of people become real personable. That's a gift, right? They know how to communicate to people.
Being authentic and maintaining integrity are the hallmarks of great leaders. Glenn also shared some practical tools for people who are just starting out in business.
No matter what you do, no matter who you are, no one can do it alone, right? You got to have good people. And there's small business development centers out there that are tax funded all over the country. And these are places that people can go that don't understand how to start a business. They can help you get incorporated. They can help you with a business plan. They can help you even get funding to get started. And so for people that have never done it before, you need a roadmap. And so surrounding yourself with mentors and good people that have done it before, or going out and using, again, our tax base and going off and finding places that you can help leverage your dream is what I think is the first step in being able to create a company. Once you get that, you got to really push your vision out there. And a lot of people are afraid to put it out there. They think, people are going to think I'm crazy. You got to articulate it. And once you once you say it in the world and you believe it, other people can believe in your dream. You'd be surprised. You wouldn't, Dave, but a lot of people would be surprised when you have a dream, how many people are willing to help you achieve. When you do push it out there and you show people how serious you are and that you think that you can achieve something, greatness, there's a lot of great people out there that are going to help you.
Glenn's grounded attitude and work ethic is an inspiration. He is the definition of a rags to riches story, so I wanted to know how he defines success and what accomplishments he is most proud of.
I always think about my last breaths. What am I going to feel, right? That whole saying of, did you work too much? Did you do all this kind of stuff? And you hear, people talk about that. No, mine, I had a child at 14. I am close to this wonderful, wonderful gift of a woman now. Her mother and I are close. Her mother's husband and I are very close. I was married once before and I got remarried. I am very close to my ex-wife. She happens to be the godmother to my little girls with my wife and me. And I'm proud of that. When we went around the world, my wife and my ex-wife came with us and she taught our little girls. She's a teacher. And so I'm real proud of that. And so what I'm most proud of, I think, is that when I look back on the times that were tough and when things didn't go well or when things don't go your way, what happened, right? So I sit there and I could lay my head back and go, I have a wonderful daughter. When I thought the world was over, I thought this is the end of me at 14. I've got a wonderful ex-wife. I thought, oh my gosh, I went through a divorce, but now look. And all that it's taught, I hope, my children is that it's not what happens to you when you fall. It's what happens to you and how you get back up, right? And what you do about it. And so those are the kind of things for me that I'm real proud about.
Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Glenn's story is the definition of ambition and grit, and we hope you feel inspired to tackle the obstacles in your life and business. You can order Glenn's book, Integrity, on Amazon and everywhere books are sold. Additionally, you will find Glenn on all the social media platforms, or you can tune into his podcast, Grit Happens, for more mentoring and business advice. Until next time, remember, everything in life worth having takes a little ambition and grit.